Hello and welcome to another episode of our Android Div Calculator tutorial. In this episode we're going to go over this one line here. Excuse me. Okay, so first let's see what happens when we run this. And actually I'm going to change this to just %f. And we'll talk about that later. So let's run that in our emulator. Okay, here we go. Let's change the first customer to 5 and then lose focus on that. Scroll down and you'll notice it says 5.000000. So that isn't good because it updated, but that's not really the sort of here, let's make another one. 7. This should say 12 now. It does. So that's good. The addition is working. And the updating is working. The problem is the formatting is a bit wrong. We don't want it to say 12.0000. We want it to say that, right? Of course. So how do we change that? Let's look at this method here. We're setting the text equal to String.format, and then String.format has 2 arguments. The purpose of this method is to turn a number like a double or an integer or whatever, into a string. And it takes 2 arguments. The second argument is obvious. Here it's total. It is whatever you want to get turned into a string. The first argument is a bit more complicated. It is a string, and within that string are the rules of formatting the thing that you want to format. Okay, so let's go over what it currently does. %f. Well, I'm really losing my throat here. My voice, I mean. Okay, 2 parts. % and the letter f. %. I'm not going to go over what that means. Just know that every time you want to write formatting rules for String.format, start it off with the %, and everything that comes after the % sign are the rules. That's not exactly right, but that'll do for now. So it is just the thing that starts off the rules. Okay, the letter F. F refers to the type, the kind of number we're dealing with. F stands for floating point number. In other words, a number that has fractional values like 5.2. You can change that to a different type, for instance, D, which means decimal, refers to integers. So let's try what happens when we hit D. Okay. Wow, it actually crashes. Why did you do that? Well, I guess we can learn how to debug. Go to the debug, look at the logcat, make sure this button is depressed. Scroll up, and find the part that says you had an error. It's usually the big block of red text. %D can format double arguments. Okay. Well, I wanted to use it as an example, but you can't. So again, like I said, D stands for a decimal, which refers to integers. but you can use that rule to format a double, which is what total is. So I have to keep it at F. If total was an integer, that's what you would use. for the type. Okay, let's add another rule. Let's add commas. So put a comma between the % and the F sign and then run. Oh geez, I'm really sick. I think I'm gonna stop after this. Okay, hit 5, select out of it, scroll down and see what happened. Oh, we gotta use a bigger number than 5. Go for 5,000. Okay, as you can see, there's a comma there now that separates the 5 and the 3 zeros after it. If we did not put the comma here, there would be no comma down here. So let's go over what that means. The comma is called a flag, and there are different flags that you can use. You can look them up if you wanted. They do different stuff, like if there's a flag that turns all negative numbers into numbers that are in parentheses. The comma flag is a flag that separates numbers with commas based on where the user's device device's location. So if you're in the United States and you have the comma flag here, it'll put a comma between every 3 digits in a number to denote every thousands. And if you're in other parts of the world, you know, if you'll use whatever. I think in Canada they use spaces instead of commas or something. But anyway, so it'll change based on what locale you're in. But for most places, at least for the United States, the flag will make it so that there's a comma between every 3 digits in your numbers, which is what we want. Okay, let's do one more rule. So down here, this 6 zeros at the end is kind of annoying. So let's add this. And run. And this is the last rule we'll be dealing with. Okay, let's do 5,000 again. A very large bill. And as you can see, there are only 2 decimal places in our split bill here. Why is that? This right here refers to precision. It denotes how many decimal places we want to have for our float. I'm not sure what happens if you use a decimal instead of a float and also have a precision. So you can try that if you want. But anyway, if you have a float and you put 0.2, this says how many decimal places you want to show. So we want it to have 2 decimal places, so we put 0.2. If you wanted 3, just put 0.3, 4, 0.4, etc. So those are all the rules that we want to do. Let's go over it again. There are 4 parts in our rule set right here. Percent, which is the thing that starts the rules. Comma, which is a flag that tells the computer to put commas to make the number easier to read. 0.2, which refers to the precision, how many decimal places we want. F, which stands for floating point, which refers to the kind of number we're dealing with, in this case a double. Or that is to say, a number that has fractional amounts in it. The order of these rules do actually matter. The flag has to come before the precision has to come before the type. And like I showed you, you could have just the type, or you could just have, you know, the flag and the type, or just the precision and the type. What you can't have is like the flag and precision and no type. The one thing that you always have to have here, as in this argument, is the type. And then other stuff you can add. We went over 3 different rules here. there are actually more things besides flags, precision, and type. We just don't need to use them for our purposes. But anyway, so this thing here, this whole thing here, it turns total into a float, or it sets the text to the float version of total, or sorry, the string version of total, and it formats that string according to the rules that we give as the first argument. And then one more thing. So we added a string $sign right here, and we add that to whatever we had before. And what that will do, which should be obvious, is, well, you're asleep. So let's use 5. Now there's a $sign in front of the thing. So just like you can add two doubles together, you'll get the sum of it. You can also add two strings together. So this is a string, which is 5.00. This is a $sign, and if you add them together, you get $5.00. Okay, I think that's good enough for now. Okay, one more thing before we end the video. So this is a new dollar, or a new customer. Let's click out of that. Let's leave it at 0.00 and see what happens. Our app crashes. Why is that? Well, I'll go over it in the other video, like I said. So I'll see you guys in the next video.